Mr. Speaker, this is a very important issue to me. The reason is that I've had a young brother who has worked for Kenya Airways for 26 years. And right now the young man is bedridden because of having spent so much time flying aeroplanes for the airline. His kidneys collapsed because of the compression and all that. And the reason why I'm bringing this story is that I'm explaining to you that I actually don't believe that KQ is able to take him for a kidney transplant that he wants. And this is somebody you know, Mr. Speaker, is a young brother of mine. Now, Mr. Speaker, today I want to tell this House who actually owns KQ. Mr. Speaker, the beauty of this House is that we are able to articulate and state facts, and if somebody wants me to substantiate, I will. KQ is actually owned by two companies. One is called Serengeti Holdings, and the other one is called Savo Holdings. These two companies were set up by none other than the great man whom we believed was a genius called Titus Naikuni. But, Mr. Speaker, the information that we got later was that Titus was not acting for himself. He was acting for the power players and for the individuals who eventually ended up buying KQ. KQ ended up negotiating to purchase Embraer planes from Brazil. And in the process of those aeroplanes being bought, Mr. Speaker, through Serengeti Holdings and through Savo Holdings, what actually happened is that these guys just signed an agreement where everything that KQ buys through Serengeti and Savo Holdings and then sells it to KQ in Nairobi. So the Boeing planes that we have in our country are owned, yes, by the government of Kenya because we have shares in it, but KQ is actually owned by private individuals who have been stealing money from that airline for the last 24 years. Number two, Mr. Speaker, KQ, the saddest thing, and I'm sure all of us have watched it. Look at the people who work at KQ. If you look at how our passers, the air hostesses, and the individuals who worked in KQ 10 years ago and today, Mr. Speaker, even the uniforms, you look, the ones they're wearing is just shocking. If you look at the airlines themselves, like the aeroplane we took last evening, Mr. Speaker, you see cockroaches running around now in the aeroplane. Why? The company that supplies the spare parts, the company that does the management, manages the engineering department in fixing the aeronautical engineering company that supplies the equipment and the spare parts to the airline is owned by the same people. The same people are the ones who actually supply us the food that we eat in those aeroplanes. And Mr. Speaker, there is something that is completely crazy. I don't know whether this House knows, and that is why I am saying this, because now we need to tell each other the truth. Mr. Speaker, we do not have the airspace agreements which were signed between the Kenyan government and Google. Every single thing about our airspace up here is controlled. The rights were sold to Google. I don't think anybody knows what these agreements say. And Mr. Speaker, the committee that is going to look at this must go to the bottom of this and find out who signed the agreement for this agreement to be validated. Mr. Speaker, the other point I wanted to bring to this House, look at Ethiopian Airlines. How much profit have they made? They made $2 billion profit this year. Why is Rwanda Airlines doing well? Because the Ethiopians are the ones running Rwanda Air with Kenyans. So how can one airline make billions of dollars? If you were to change that into billions of dollars, you can see how much. All right? Our airline could most probably be paying our debts. You see an airline that is not making money. It is being run by Kenyans, yes, but every year we are making losses. Mr. Speaker, this matter must be rested. Let us agree, this House, and I ask, especially Honorable Cherargei, you know you are on that side this time. We are on this side. You said you will talk about these guys, what they have done. Can you show Kenyans that you are brave enough to start disclosing the issues that are messing up our country? Let us go back to the state capture. Let us begin to look at the issues that are making our country not to move. You look at the airlines, same story. You look at Kenya Power and independent power producers, same story. You look at all these things, we know them. Mr. Speaker, I would like to say that as far as I'm concerned, I hope the committee will look at the issue with detail, with a tooth comb. Mr. Speaker, you know, look at the air controllers, the ones we have here at the airport. The system that we got initially was provided by the French. Then somebody went and brought an air controlling system that is owned by the Chinese. Everything is in Chinese. Those are the things. How that happened, Honorable Cherargei, I hope you will find out. If you look at the money that the Kenya Civil Aviation Authority has been handling, and I saw the president choose the board. I want only to tell him that, Your Excellency, you never put anybody who has even flown a plane. You never put even an engineer of aeronautics. All the people that the president has put there, most of them don't know the subject matter. So how are these guys going to interrogate what is happening at the Kenya Civil Aviation Authority and with our airport? Honorable Cherargei, I want to thank you. How did the Kenyan government sell our landing rights at Heathrow and nobody knew about it? When these agreements were being signed, who was there? Those are the things I hope that this committee will bring, and we sit here and look at them, because Kenyans are beginning to ask the questions. Is it so difficult for us to fix some of these things? Because, Mr. Speaker, my conclusion is, if we tackle 2, 3 of these issues and remove the cartels, the country will start moving in the right direction. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.